All right, let's get started here. Good morning, everybody. This is Nick, Mr. Nick. On Tuesday mornings, I sometimes go by Rally, but you know, friends and family call me Nick. If you can hear me, let's just put anything in the chat. Let me know that you're there. Jeff, hey, all right. What's up, Dennis, Vicky, Tom? All right, it's good to be here this morning. Hope everyone here had a fantastic Easter and a great holiday weekend. And you got some eggs and chocolate bunnies. That's my biggest hope for you. Today we're joined by Troy, and Troy's joining us from Kentucky. Troy, you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. How's it
Very
going,
good.
Troy?
Real good, thanks. How are you today?
I'm really good. Did you have a good Easter weekend with your family?
I did. I had a great Easter. We have a new grandbaby. He just turned a year old. So that was our first experience with a grandchild. So we had a really good time.
Oh,
Good
that's
weekend.
awesome. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any traditions you do, or is it just pretty much like my mother-in-law has like very specific food that we're gonna eat every Easter, and that's what we do. Do you guys have anything like that you do?
Well, I think early on we certainly did. My wife did a lot of stuff for the kids growing up. We have three grown kids now. Two of them are married, and of course, as I mentioned, one of them has a baby. So, yeah, there was a lot of traditions growing up. A lot of specific holiday meals, but now that's kind of passed. A little bit more low keyed. We went out for dinner yesterday, and just a small few of us. So two of our kids live out of state now, so it's a little bit smaller crowd, but yeah, we still have some traditions. Yes.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Out of curiosity, what'd you have for dinner last night? Where'd you go eat?
Well, there's a really good local restaurant that we went to, and I had halibut. What I had, just fish. I like fish, so it was a great meal though.
Sounds good. I haven't had breakfast. I was looking for ideas. So
No breakfast.
okay. Well, hey, Troy, tell us about yourself. Let's get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think I've been with Apiary since the fall of 2019, I believe. So I love trading. Love trading Forex. That's a passion of mine. I just don't know what it is about it, but when I'm trading, that's all I want to do and focus on. So I really enjoy that. But as I said, married. My wife and I've been married for about 30 years now, and we had three kids. Our daughter's the oldest. She's the one with our grandchild. And then after her, we had twin boys. So it was a great experience raising twins. And they were both boys. So they were best friends growing up, played on all the same sports teams and had all the same friends. So that was a great experience to have that. And I love to golf. So when they were really young, I trained the boys, taught them how to play golf, and didn't take long before they were beating me every time we go out now. So
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
so
Are they still is that who's out of state? Your boys?
yes, they both live out of state now, so don't get to see them nearly as often.
Are they so the twins? And I know a lot of twins. They tend to stick together even when they go out. Did your twins do that?
They did, yes. Growing up, they're not identical twins, but they look extremely similar. And most people, as they're growing up, would always mistake one for the other, and kind of they dealt with that a lot growing up. But they were very close. They were best friends growing up, and once they graduated from college, one of them moved away, and the other one was still trying to find his career path and bounced around a little bit, but just recently ended up in the same town as his brother now. So yeah, they're very close, and that's I think it'll always be that way.
That's cool. Yeah, that's has been my experience with all the twins that I know. They tend to even if they leave each other for a minute, they tend to end up in the same place. So one of the things that I found interesting about your guest trader survey is that you are a professional, and me and you talked about this last week, and something that Sean has been stressing a lot lately. In fact, that webinar we did with Todd 2 weeks ago, for the stock and options crew, Sean, took the first 10, 15 minutes and talked a little bit about the money buckets and, coming up with a financial plan. And that's what you do professionally. Am I correct?
I do. I'm the director of operations for a small independent financial planning firm. So that is what we do. We do financial planning. We do financial plans for our clients. We also do the money management part for our clients if that's what they choose to do. So, I agree with everything Sean says in that realm. It's an extremely important part of planning your future, making sure that your money is secured in the right places to get you the best chance of a good future. And yeah, so I was excited to hear that webinar and listen to it because it's a big deal and it's a big passion. So
Why you kind of did just answer this, but if you could expand a little bit, why is that so important? Like in your profession, when you are meeting with people, what are the things that you stress to them that are so important about that part of their financial stability?
well, it's a lot like trading. I mean, if you don't have a plan and you don't have a target, you'll never hit that target. If you don't have a goal set for your financial future, then you're just kind of meandering and wandering and living paycheck to paycheck. And at the end, you're wondering where all my money go. So that financial plan really creates that game plan, that target to say, okay, here's where I want to be at this point in life, and this is how I'm going to get there. And it takes a lot of discipline, a lot of diligence to stick to the plan and make decisions based on that plan. If you want to go out and buy a new house, well, how's that going to affect your financial plan and the savings that you've accumulated? And if you take a certain amount out of savings, how's that going to affect your overall returns long term? So having that plan, and that to me, that's the most important thing, is if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there.
No, that's great. And you guys map all that out for them?
Yes, correct. That's what we do.
That's cool. It's a big deal. Like I said, we've been stressing that a lot. So when me and you talked, you said you did that, it was a good conversation. So how did I think that Sean's ready for you. All right. Well, you're good.
All right, Nick.
I was about to ask the hardest questions you could ever imagine. So
yeah, I'll bet.
All right, you just dodged a bullet. Before I get you over to Sean, though, what was it that you'd like to focus on in your trading session today with him?
I think the biggest thing for me is discipline, confidence as well, but mostly I struggle with discipline in terms of following my rules. Mostly when it comes to a trade going against me, I kind of things fall apart quickly. So just learning that discipline to again have that plan and stick to it.
Sounds good. All right, discipline. All right, Troy. Hey, I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for joining us on Guest Trader today, and I hope that you and Sean have the best trading session ever.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning, Troy.
Good morning.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Oh, fantastic. Excited to trade with you today.
Yeah, me too. Looking forward to it.
Me too. I didn't know you had twins.
I did have twins. Yes. Yeah. It's a great experience. My wife and I were pretty freaked out when we first learned about it, but man,
Is that right?
I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was a great experience. Loved it.
It's like a built-in friend. Huh?
Yes, that's exactly right. They are best friends for sure.
That's awesome. Well, let's see if we can get Alvio up here and see if we can get you running on it. That's the big question. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen with you and give you remote access here. And you'll have to click it, and then that'll activate there you go. Nice. And then there is that latency. I always tell this to the guests, but it's a very real thing. So when you think you're clicking, it's going to be a little bit slow in the response rate. So,
Gotcha.
well, I am excited to trade with you this morning, Troy, and been looking forward to the weekend. I woke up this morning. I traded last night and had a great session last night. Woke up this morning and got caught in a couple of really like those marching markets.
Oh yeah.
So I'm really hoping you asked to learn a little bit about discipline, and I'm thinking today is a disciplines market. So
you get what you asked for, I guess.
yeah, we're gonna learn a little bit about discipline.
All right.
I'm sure if these markets persist the way they have been this morning.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, anything else? I know you said discipline, confidence, but anything else you're really kind of interested in? And before we get started,
Well, I've learned a lot of the technical aspects of trading, but I'm a prime example of the type of person that I'll have wins, build up, and then just have that one trade that takes all the gains away. And that's where I struggle the most, is keeping the gains that I get and staying away, or getting myself out of those situations where the trade goes against me. And, I just, for whatever reason, I know what I need to do, but sometimes I just don't do it.
yeah, I think the vast majority of people would agree
Yeah.
with you there. It's kind of the nature of how the market works. You get the wins, you book the profit, you get the wins, and then all of a sudden, just that one that doesn't go quite right. And that's the we talk a lot about fix it mode and what we do, what our objectives are, and that's really what fix it mode is designed to do. Is it's designed to like stop that. I always say it's like when you get into a losing trade, it's like digging a hole, right? You're digging a hole, digging a hole, digging a hole. You just don't want to dig it 6 feet. So you want to dig it. It's okay to dig a hole, but keep it like a foot deep,
Right. Yeah.
because you can shovel all the dirt back in. But if it's 6 feet down, then you're in trouble. Then you're gonna be poking posies or posies. What's the word? Peonies? Posies up.
There you go. Yeah. And, a lot of times what I struggle with is if things are doing what I think they should be doing, then, I do real well, but then all of a sudden the market changes and I don't change with it, and then just get upside down. And that's a big struggle.
Yeah. And it's hard because, you've got a range like this, and if it goes down in that range, your value is dropping, you're holding the losses, most of the time, as long as it's within this range, it's easy enough to recover. So, it may take a few minutes to recover, but, most of the time it recovers.
Yeah.
But then, sometimes it slips out of that range. And so you get these bigger losses, and then all of a sudden you just don't know what to do with it. And you're like, oh shoot, if I cut it off here, then there's a possibility that I miss the recovery phase. But if I don't cut it off here, then there's a possibility. And so it's always that. Exactly. I don't know what to do.
Exactly.
So, and it's not a precise moment. And that's what makes it hard. It's like everything in the market. It's always a probability thing. So pushing daisies. Thank you. It's been a long weekend. Too much sugar.
There you go.
Thank you. I was pushing peonies. I don't know what that is. All right. Well, traders, we're going to go ahead and get started. Our guest today is Troy. Super excited to trade with you this morning, Troy. And we're going to start out just kind of going through, trying to pick a side we want to trade on this morning. So we're going to start with the bias. And to do that, we'll start with the daily chart. After the long holiday weekend, clean these off here. So kind of a persistent sell in the market. Big candle here though, right? So big apex candle right here. But we're pushing down, pushing lower into that apex candle, right? Can you see that okay, Dave? Or Troy?
Yeah, clearly.
So we're getting that persistent push down, a little bit of a tail activity this morning. So a little bit of a tail, wondering if we're gonna maybe try and make a pop higher. We'll look at that in a little bit more detail here. But really, the dailies, there's not a lot of bullish optimism at this point, right?
Right.
So primarily on the bear side. We'll drop down to an hour chart. And this is that big apex bar on the daily, right? And then this is that persistent move lower. So holiday weekends, it's, you know, it's kind of price action is going to be a little bit distorted, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So we saw a little bit of that distortion over the weekend. And then really this morning trying to pull up off of those lows, just trying to make that's that wick. That's what formed the wick on the daily chart right in here, that little wick.
Okay.
So really trying to pull off those lows, and it's right now on that 5-minute chart, it's really struggling to know which direction it wants to go this morning. It's going to set a tone, set a direction, and we haven't established what that direction is this morning.
So on
Yeah.
that daily chart, it's getting fairly close to that previous daily low. Is that something that would be a concern if you're looking to sell as you're
Back
coming
over
into
here.
those lows?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's why we're trying to bounce off these lows on the hour. I think that's why we're trying to bounce up off of them.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's the market moves quickly between these supports, resistance lines, these key levels. And then it gets choppy, and that's what we're dealing with right now. Overall, the easy movements are coming in on the sell side. That's
Okay.
just the way it is so far this morning, or so far the last few days. So then let's look at that hour chart, and we got that pressed market up. If you look, this is a little divergence set up here on that 5-minute chart. High, higher, high, gets pushed lower, and then another divergence, and then a lower low. So this is where I got caught a little bit on those outside ranges this morning. And it's just those persistent movements that create, without the volatility, that create a lot of problems for us. But then we've had a little bit of a character change, and now it's just really choppy. So not pushing out further, not ready. The market's not ready to make a move one direction or another, and we're just getting chopped. So what that means is that we don't really have a good bias in any one direction, except for that selling pressure that we've seen on the daily and the hours. So we'll anchor on that, try primarily selling. But if we start to break up into these highs, then we'll want to switch positions in our session. So we'll start on the sell side, and then if we push up into those highs, we'll start to try and catch a breakout to the upside this morning.
Okay.
All right, other than that, we're down on the 1 minute chart now. And delete these. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to start to pick out our lines of decision. I don't know if I want that there or there. Probably there. All right, so I think that what that does is I wasn't sure whether to put this line on the bottom of these two wicks or on the bottom of the bodies. Do you see that?
Yes.
So I'm thinking the bottom of the wicks because that gives us alignment back over here and then back over here. Whereas if we chose the bodies, it gives us alignment here, but not necessarily anything else.
Right.
So
I think I like the wicks.
I'm with you. Okay, you ready to get started here?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you run then. So we're coming up to a line. It could be a little bit higher, but let's go ahead and throw a short on. Let's just see where it puts our target. If we can get it above that, the next lower line, go ahead and click that.
There it is.
Got that latency.
Yeah, a little bit.
And remind me where you're at again?
In Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
In Louisville.
No, I am in Fort Mitchell, which we're actually at the northern part of Kentucky, just south of Cincinnati. So
Okay,
right over the river from Ohio, from
gotcha.
Cincinnati.
Some pretty rolling hills out in that country.
Kentucky has some beautiful horse farms a little bit further
Yeah.
south of us. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so pushing up through that line. So let's go ahead and look at the time. So anytime you see it pushing up through there, look at how much time you have. That's a break. So let's draw our next decision line up above where we are.
And
That looks good right there. And so let's let that run just a minute. We're going to let that run 1 or 2 candles. This is where discipline kind of comes in. We are on a little bit of a trend line resistance. So, but it looks like it, maybe not. Maybe it did break or it did hold. That trend line looked like it was breaking down, but there it comes back. So good thing we didn't jump on the shorts, right?
yeah, exactly. I probably would have seen that candle going down.
So if it comes up into that next white line, we'll go ahead and set some trades, right? If it gets up into that high right there, go ahead and set one, and let's see if it. Okay, so we need to give it a little bit more, a little higher mark right there. Trying to get that line, those target lines above the white line. Kind of tricky. It's too narrow, right?
That's quick.
So we got tail on the tops, tail on the bottoms. Still,
Lots
still
of
doesn't know.
indecision.
Still doesn't know which way it wants to go. And this is what's been tricky this morning, is that it just sits there, makes a good move and then just sits there and doesn't have any follow through. That's partly because of the holiday, that the banking holiday, I think Douglas mentioned in the chat box. All right. So let's see if it drops down. It's putting a little more and more pressure on the sell side right now. Go. Not bad to come out of the gate with the
There you go.
couple wins.
Few quick ones.
Now we're there's a really good line on that 5-minute chart. Do you want to put a line on that, on those lows on the 5-minute chart? We're gonna really.
Is that where you're referring to?
It's exactly right. Maybe down just a hair, but this is if you watch how those candles are forming, they're like putting more, they're dropping into that line. So if that breaks, then we should see a little bit of a, but it's holding strong. So it's not sure which direction. But that's going to be the key. That's the key point. So right now, there's just nothing, Troy.
Yeah. Well, this is a good experience of not jumping in when you shouldn't.
We gotta see if it's gonna turn higher or lower here. It's a good place for it to turn higher. It's a good place for it to rest on its way down. So Robin, I'm so sorry it took that long to get in. No, to go, Tager is saying go up. We'll root for it to go up. And of course it goes down. So on those lows on that 5-minute chart, let's build a little bit of a long position. Maybe let's go ahead and put one long in right here. This is a little risky because it's early in the trade. This is a tendency that, what was your investor profile, Troy?
Analytical, methodical.
Yeah, so this is where I get in trouble. This is where you do well. I tend to push things a little early.
Yeah.
All right. That wick is trying to play off that line. That's good. If it drops through and we're not in the last 20 seconds and momentum's not picking up, then we'll build a little bit right here. Add one. And another. And that we're in that last 20 seconds. So don't want to build too big, but let's go through one more long. And we're now in the early early in the new candle. So far so good. Be a little patient right here because it's stopping on the bottom, which means it's putting more pressure on that support
Yeah.
on that 5-minute chart.
So did you make the comment not to build in the last 20 seconds?
Yeah, and that's what we did. But it wasn't breaking that line on that 5-minute chart.
Okay.
So that's why we did it. We want the trades on, but if it's like, if it was building momentum to the downside, we wouldn't have been doing that.
Gotcha.
Now the turn, this is where we need a turn. Right here, it's starting to make the turn. Trying to make a turn. So it's pressing off the turn. Pressing off. Trying it again. And we're now in that sweet spot, that 20 seconds. So kind of a turn there, would you say, on that one?
Yeah, it's struggling a little bit. Oh, there it goes.
There's the momentum picks up. So the anatomy of a turn is you now want the momentum to follow you through, which is what it's trying to do now. So we got a very weak turn and then
Yeah.
a little bit of follow through. Hasn't moved at all. All right, so now this is a little dicey. Didn't quite, it's failing, that it's a fake turn. So now it'll come back, most likely come back down and test those lows again. So it hasn't tested a break of the lows. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
So that might, this might be it. This is where it might test the break of the lows. So don't put a trade on or long at least.
Sorry, did you say don't put a trade on?
No, yeah. Yeah, so just we're just hanging on that line, and momentum can pick up. Like we've got no momentum right now, Troy.
Yeah.
Got no momentum. Market's not moving anywhere. We're on a really key 5-minute point, and we don't know if it's going to turn to the high side or to the downside. So inevitably this is where you get caught in a trade, like we're in a trade. And then you fix, and then you add to it, and then you add to it, and then all of a sudden you're fixing right in that momentum stage.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I struggle with a lot. Is I see that low, and I'm like, okay, that's a pretty hard bottom. So I'd be buying off of it, and all of a sudden just breaks it and falls over the edge, and I get stuck. So
yeah. This is how a lot of really good trades go bad.
yeah, exactly right.
let's put a short on a sell. I just want to see where it puts the target. Okay, so anything above this point is good for a short. But we want to see if this builds momentum here. So momentum to the upside. So we want to see if it breaks. And then if it breaks the previous pivot high.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but that sometimes I just throw a trade on just to see where it puts the target. Because if I can get that target in like where it is, or just a little bit higher, then sometimes I'll build a little quick, I'll build a position because we haven't tested the break yet. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
And so I'm almost to the point where I'm like, it's got to test the break before it can make a decision whether it wants to go up or go down. It's got to at least test the break. And if we can make money on the test, then that's not a bad thing.
And then when you say test the break, are you talking about just hitting that line or actually breaking through it and coming back?
Breaking through it and coming back.
Okay.
Yeah. It hasn't made a run for the break.
Yeah.
So it's come down, found support, really nice, easy support several times, but it hasn't tried to make it.
Okay.
I'm half expecting it right here. Didn't do it. It's not over yet, but now Troy is just so slow.
One of those days. It's like it's going to try it again.
Yeah, this feels more like summer than beautiful April.
Yeah, really.
Trade.
Are you guys in full bloom with everything there?
We are. My eyes, I don't know if you can see, my eyes are like all swollen right now, itching.
It's a rough time.
I get hay fever really bad. Suffering from that. I don't know if that was the test or not. But
Oh, it was a weak one.
snow on the ground in Minnesota.
Yikes.
That's right, Jerry. I wanted a ranch. We always go for the things that punish us the worst. Oh, rub it in, John. 80s in South Florida.
Yeah, that's the place to be right there.
All right. On those white beaches in the Panhandle. Have you been over there at all?
I have, yeah. We've been to Destin a few times, but
Destin, yeah.
most recently we go a little bit further south to Sarasota on the Gulf side. That's
Oh yeah.
it's beautiful there.
Yeah, I had no idea it was so beautiful down in that country.
Yeah, that's our vacation spot from Kentucky. It's just straight south of us. So
just out. You just get in the car and head south.
on the interstate and take off.
We gotta wait, Troy. There's nothing we can do right now. It's a complete gamble. Yeah, those Destin beaches were, they're amazing. That sand is like not
Yeah.
like any sand I'm familiar with.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and the waters are that nice emerald color.
Yeah.
Very pretty. It's been a while since we've been there, but I really enjoyed it when we did go.
Jerry, wake up. This is where we need a good joke. It's where Nick needs to pop in with a new hat. He's always saying, I had to just like pop in with a different hat every time.
There you go.
You should totally do it, Nick.
Especially in times like this.
Exactly. I learned my lesson though, Troy, because this is what it was doing. Was it last week or the week before? I can't even. No, it was last week. Last Wednesday, it was like the volatility was shrinking.
Yeah.
So I started putting trades on just to show something. And the next thing I know, I'm upside down, 3 or 4 layers, and there's no volatility. There's no coming back. And so I was like, oh,
I was in that session, so I got to
you were.
experience that. Yeah. That was brutal.
It was rough. So as bad as this is, we just can't force a trade here.
I can appreciate that.
And it is bad.
Mm.
And even if it pops here, I'd be a little nervous of a just nervous of a little move one way to go the other. John, what is the sleepiest food? Pizza.
Everybody loves pizza.
Yeah, that was in the rally. Oh no, Biden stocking.
Great.
Oh, that's hilarious, Paul. The economy is so bad, ExxonMobil laid out 15 congressmen. That's terrible.
So if it did break this low, would you expect it to go kind of strong? Do you think there are more cells sitting there? Or is this a condition where it's just going to kind of flop around?
I think it's I don't think in a condition like this where you've got like narrow volatility, like going nothing, I don't think there's many traders that are going to believe a break, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
They're gonna counter it pretty hard. So, and I think we'll do the same. If it breaks, depending on how hard it breaks and how much momentum builds, we may counter it.
Definitely not much momentum.
Man. William, good question. Yes, we're in the process of moving education over to Trader on the Street. So we're on last week, we introduced the stock and option crew. And so that's we're going to be now just doing more education, more like mainstream education, not so much trading, but more investing and looking at the big financial picture. And then this Wednesday, actually, we're launching, I won't be launching it necessarily through the Trader on the Street, but we're going to launch what we call the Meta Crew. And that will be a crew that is focused on metaverse investing. And so I'm actually going to be building a new fund around that whole metaverse concept. And so we're going to be launching that this Wednesday, but it's just a test campaign, like a soft launch. I want to check out what the appetite is for for a cold market on that Meta Crew. And then once we get some feedback on that, then we'll be launching it to the community. You're all welcome to come. It's just we're not going to be advertising it except for through some specific channels, but I'll let everybody know. It will be a virtual crew, yes. Yeah. And very heavily focused on managing a portfolio. So I'll be building a new fund around that concept. So around metaverse, there's some amazing things happening right now. Absolutely amazing things happening in technology, social construct, some of the big economic trends that we're seeing in the world right now. It's just really fascinating. And not on this one, not at least right now. This will be this will be a little different. In the future, we will probably do street cred, but in the beginning, may not. Troy, I don't know what to say. we have to have movement in order to make money.
I'm just reading the chats over here, so.
So let's see if there's anything else moving. Your JPY is a mess. Mark, part of the founders crew will have access to the Meta Crew. Yeah. So yeah, you'll automatically have access to it, but not quite yet. So give us some hold on to that. We're just testing out our messaging and how we connect with the public. So. Yeah, I mean, this definitely feels like a holiday. Oh, sorry, 5:05, a little longer.
Blue. Okay, who's tempted
attempted break. Starting to try to make a run on that 5-minute chart. I don't know how you could be so lucky, Troy.
You know,
We said discipline.
this is taking a lot of discipline. Yeah.
You'll have to tell your family, like, we finally get a trading session and it goes nowhere.
He's doing this, right? Stay away from the button.
That's right. Sit on those hands. It's like, Nate, put your hands together and then move one thumb one direction and the other thumb the other
There you go.
direction.
Let's do some twiddling.
Not exactly sure, Ivan, what you're asking there. Possibility of having a 24, 48-month plan. Allow people who are interested in getting more education. Are you talking about like the technology fees, the tech fees, the monthly fees? Monthly fees. Yeah. I mean, we could definitely set something up like that. But I just have to look at it. Challenge is that we pay the fees monthly. So when we all of our technology fees and everything, we get billed monthly. So that's why we set it up for monthly. 505 on today's trading, what would happen if change target to 1 pip with a larger size? Then I'll tell you exactly what happens. 505. Then you get the breakout, and then you're sitting in much larger sizes. But that's essentially why we get in trouble in a situation like this, is because we start to press and push and try and force something to happen, and then all of a sudden we're too heavy, and then the market goes the other direction on us. Troy, it should pick up. I mean, it's pressing on that 5-minute or on that 1-minute chart, just pressing. We should see a break. The tech fee comes with Albio. That's where there's like two primary costs with there's all the servers that run the software, which, because we're so intensive in the amount of data we push through, can be pretty expensive. And then there's licensing fees for data. So nobody gives you data. I mean, they give you data for free at a brokerage, but they chop it up into packets, so you never get the full data stream. And then the reason they do offer it for free is because then their model is that they charge commissions, and we don't charge a commission. liquidity providers that we deal with, they do charge a small commission, but we're not getting that money to reimburse ourselves for the data costs, if that makes sense. All right, looks like it's starting to get a little bit more pressure to the downside here. New candle on that 5-minute chart. A slow-mo break, yeah. This is slop trading. Let's see about where a short puts us. That's way too far away.
Yeah.
If it runs up to that white line, then maybe on that 1-minute chart. I hope this isn't a foreshadow of what summer is going to be like either.
Would be bad. It's too early for that.
Yeah, thank goodness for coffee. I mean, Troy, if I was trading, if it was just me and I'm in a trading session, I wouldn't be putting up with this. I would come back, I'd let an hour pass, and we don't have that luxury together.
Yeah, for sure.
But I would definitely just walk away from it and then come back an hour or two later.
I know you're probably not a fan of leaving trades on, but if you were in some trades like this and, for whatever reason, just decided to put on take profits and stop loss points and walk away, is that, because a lot of times, the reason I'm asked that question, a lot of times when I'm trading, I don't always get out of trades within that 1 hour trading session. I mean, I wish that I could, but I might get in some trades that just don't move the way that they need to. So most of my trading, I have trades open, all day long sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get away from that, but it seems like that does happen to me quite often, where I'm in trades longer than just during a trading session. Any advice there?
Yeah. So if you're in a position where you can check in on it and the volatility is still pretty, not getting out of hand, no problem. Like Nate is a big fan of, leaving some trades on, letting some runners run and stuff like that. But even Nate goes in, every once in a while and keeps it.
Yeah, check on it.
Look at them.
Yeah.
So, and then at night, because this is worse than night trading. But at night, I'll do the same thing. I'll set up some trades, and I'll position the computer on, some central place in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm walking around, doing stuff with the kids, or at dinner or something like that, I can just glance up and
Yeah, right.
and see it, but it's not my primary focus, whereas right here it's like a primary focus.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Remy, way to rub it in, Remy.
Buy lunch.
Yeah. Hey, we may have bought a quarter of a quarter pound,
There
a
you
quarter
go.
of a quarter pound.
Oh, man.
Oh, are you serious? The good news is we saw it move.
Yeah, it did. It did something. Pretty good bar there.
Yeah. That was 3 times the size of any other bar that we've seen in
Exactly.
the last 20 minutes. I'll have to talk to Nick. We may have to, if next Easter, we may need to like
Maybe we'll schedule one, not that date.
I'm hoping a little bit of volatility might start to pick up. Here, there's some good movement at least.
No pressure there. Hey.
Hey, I'll take it. Now you're up to $9. Now we're a little bit better than that, but not much. 50 on the session. There we go. That's not bad, right, Debbie? All right,
There we go.
Got some movement. That's the breakout. Only took 20 minutes. So right in here, let's pick up a couple of longs right here. Oh, that's a mile away, it seems like. If it takes those targets out, if it hits those targets somewhere right about here, we're going to want to set some shorts in. So now we're going to look for that first retracement trade. Really, we want that down right about there. I'm going to squeeze something out of this. Let me just look on that 5-minute chart where the next lines are. Okay, I just threw a bunch of trades on, and this is where I get in trouble, but I am forcing some things, trying to make a little bit.
Take advantage of the movement.
Boy, we got a long distance down there. Trying to find where the next key level is. See if we can catch a bounce off of that, but I don't see anything really great. A little bit right in here, a little bit here, but nothing real coordinated. Maybe a little bit right there.
So you're trading the first retracement. Once it hits that breakout point, would you expect it to sell off again? That be your thought?
Yeah. Well, to right now, we don't have good
Mhm.
patterns aren't real reliable right now. So normally we'd look for it to come back up, close out those trades, and then get into the shorts. But who knows? Like this thing could just keep running. It's like the one trader out in the world that's still trading besides
Yeah.
us. What is it? What's he thinking?
That's right, right.
Man, it just came so close to those targets. We almost squeezed out the only trade of the day that we
I
could have.
know. That was close. Maybe to run back up there.
Are you okay on time?
Yeah, I'm good. Sure. However long you can stand the pain, I'm in.
I mean, that looks like a huge breakdown, but it's not very much. It's not a lot of, it's only 5 pips.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, slowly put it one cell on. Just slow. Start out one here, one cell. I don't trust this market. That's why I'm saying slow. So normally I'd be all over this, Troy, and I'd be putting a really heavy stack on right now. But because that the probability, what I love about this setup is that the probability of getting back down to here at least one more time is so high. And
Yeah.
so I really stack in a heavy trade here. But because of the way this broke, it's not, how do you say it? We didn't get the real momentum behind it. There's not enough behind it so that if the buyers want to run this thing up, it'd be a piece of cake for them to run it up here. So in this case, I'm just leery about that.
That makes sense.
And we should have loaded up.
You never know.
You never do you? Okay, if it comes down into those lows, let's add a lattice stack of longs.
In the wicks or right in here?
Let this break down. If it breaks down like that on the lows, start adding right there. Add again. One more time. Again. We're going real slow into this because if it breaks, then there's more to the downside. So one more time. Just keep it real slow. So that's the second test. So that's the whole mechanics of that first retracement trade setup. Beautiful. Make more money on that setup than
Yeah.
anything in my life.
I like that.
And now it's pressing into those lows. So let that run for a little minute here. We're not too heavy, so we're in great shape.
Good.
Follow through. Mhm. We got another trader in the market.
Another buyer came in.
He's like, what's going on in here? Let's get this market moving.
Well, it takes somebody just throw some money at it.
Well, that was good. You got the only other trade
That's right.
of the day.
I'll take it.
Let's see what this does. If it pushes, we could probably start to build if it turns lower. Oh, I was going to say if it goes lower, so build into the lows. So as it comes into the lows, build. But yeah, it's running. So. Let that run. Add a couple of shorts, just 1, 2. They're a little bit too far away, even though that's the biggest candle of the session.
So would you want them above these bodies here?
Above the 2 to the left. Those 2 tops to the left. Left. 4 candles to the left.
Up here?
2 more. There, those 2. You want them above that for sure. If we can get them above here, I'll circle them. So we want these targets right here. And if we could get them up above that, that'd be ideal. But
Okay.
But the problem with getting them up above that is that by then we've broken that key, this key line up here.
Yeah.
So already we're in a breaking phase where it could break. Let's do right there. If it pulls back into these lows, we'll build a hedge. Because getting back below the low right here is not going to be really probable. So if it comes down into these, let's build some longs to replace those shorts.
Okay.
We're just squeezing anything we can out of this.
Yeah, I hear you. So are you saying longs because it's getting back above the previous breakout point?
Yeah. It's built a double bottom. It's made a turn. So it's the opposite of what we just did. We took the shorts, now it broke to the upside. Now we're going to test it and then look for the next rally.
Okay.
So right in here, start to add. Too far away. Add a couple here. It's not giving us quite enough, but if it does break those highs, it could jump up to that next white line, and this will be a good. I'm going to add a couple real quick, and I'm going to take those shorts off. Did it take that last one off? It didn't. I'm taking a lot of risk right now.
That's your style, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna pull these top ones down so we don't have to get all the way up there. I'm gonna try and get all those targets in underneath these highs. Really good chance we'll at least test those highs. But this is just squeezing anything we can out of it. Right in here. If we get a turn, there's a decent chance we can pull this off. The challenge will be breaking the previous pivot high right in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll be enough to hit our target or not. Probably not. What's the stock market doing? Anybody? Pretty flat.
Up slightly.
Market's in the green.
63 points.
Come on. Knock on wood right here, Troy.
Here we go.
This turn.
Take a run.
the best opportunity I've seen this morning. So I know we're counter trend, but
Whatever works.
if these two bars were real, and and there's movement, or there's conviction behind them, this trade should work out. If it was just literally just someone trying to jump in there, move a market, then we may not.
Yeah. So those targets are sitting kind of right in that sideways movement that we were in before. Would you expect when price gets back up there that it might bounce around in there again?
Yeah, that's why I was trying to pull them out down. Some of them were up into that area.
Yeah.
That's a good target, but with as little conviction as we've had, and that candle just took the knees out from underneath us, the legs out from underneath us. So what I was trying to do is get to the tops of this little, we kind of have two layers. I'm just trying to get them underneath the tops of that layer.
Okay.
Oh man, Troy.
That's not what we wanted to see.
Technically, we're still good, but becoming less and less so. So this is your apex and your turn. So your apex and your turn and your break. So this trade it could still be valid. Technically, it can be valid all the way back down to here.
Sure.
But preferably it holds above here and gets the turn, or even in this area and gets the turn, which is where it was when we were started. So any of those places can be valid turning points for that market, and so I was stacking in for that turn right there. It was looking like it could have done it, and then that took the legs out from underneath us. And we're not deep enough yet, so we could build a stack right in here, which is reasonable. But we're underneath that trigger point again, so we need a literal turn one more time.
Okay.
And then we're in fix it mode down here. So too much risk. I did it again. It was the green buyers were not, there was no conviction behind them.
They were just kidding.
Yeah, they were trying to get something moving, and then they failed. So the turn is back up here now, right now. So we've got a long ways to go and a lot of little resistance to get up there. So it's going to be a real challenge. More probable that we're going to be down here. And then even a very real possibility we could break down. No, it's actually pretty good, but we could be down, clear down there. So, but we don't want to, I don't want to hold that through all that. Well, I guess that's not that much. It's only 5 more pips, right?
It's like a long ways.
Seems like a long ways down there, but it's only 4 pips. I may hold it. We may hold through the longs. The pattern definitely breaks down right here. So
Yeah.
that's the breaking point for the pattern. But the bigger structure breaks down here. So what was the DXY doing? Anybody? Is it still pushing on highs?
And then it stops.
Troy, I'm so sorry, man.
You know, this is it's all an experience.
I just haven't had a session like this for so long. It's been so good lately. This really is like the worst of the worst case scenario. It's like if there's a Goldilocks moment, this is the anti-Goldilocks moment.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you letting me be a part of it. That's great.
The big bad wolf moment. That's what it is. Let's see if we can squeeze something out of a possible turn. That's trying. Where are these guys? Where'd
Yeah.
they go?
They went to lunch.
Let's see if we get this turn. If not, then Troy, we may pack it up for the day.
Yep.
It's not looking like volatility picking up at all. And that just erased 2 minutes worth, 3 minutes worth of work right there. So
Yeah.
So the way that we're structured right now, we've got that initial stack of trades. We were about 3.5 lot sizes right in there. That would have been perfect if we had had that move up. We didn't. So now we're down, we're about almost 3.5 down here, about 3 down here. So in order to get back to break even, we're going to need to get all the way back up into this area right in here, and preferably break back up through that. So it's a lot to ask the market. Even on this candle still is just hitting resistance now for the turn. So it's a lot to ask, and so it may because of how I set this up, who knows how long it would take.
Yeah.
And we still run the risk of it breaking the lows. That just took up 2 trades was all. So a couple of things we could do is we could pull all of the trades underneath that line, right? And that would get us about to break even. We could add more risk to the trade. Like right here, add more risk, which would skew the break-even point lower, and then move everything over. But all of that's dependent on how confident we are that the market's even going to go up, and so
Sure.
that's where I'm not super confident in this trade. So anyway, more than likely at this point, we're going to come down. So another option, it would be to close everything out and then anchor in, take an equally big risk on the downside, which doesn't seem like a super smart way to go. So more in this situation, it would be more sit and wait. We're down on those lows.
Yeah. And this is probably where I would get myself into trouble by adding to the longs and then it breaking, going
It
down.
really is easy to get in trouble in this case, right? In fact, I was just getting ready to add longs. I was waiting to see how it behaved around this line. Because if it breaks through really hard and fast, then I was going to throw some longs on, getting that, hoping for a little bit of a retrace. But if it's slow, then I don't want to put those, because the slow push is more persistent than a big move.
Okay.
John, instead of triple shot of espresso, what if we hit it with that epinephrine? What is that?
Epinephrine.
Epinephrine? Is that the thing that gets the heart going? Adrenaline, that's what, man, Hawaiian, you're saving me. I can't think of the words today, but you're coming in that saving it. It's because I'm I'm falling asleep here is what, that's the problem. Oh shoot. It's a little bull trap there. Well, that's about the worst thing it could have done. It poked its way through, started giving us a little bit of a sign that it was going to make a run. I added a couple extra trades, and then it is decidedly broken from here. So now we'll let it run just a little bit more. Let's see where it puts our target on a long. It's not a good place for the target. DXY is looking to move higher in the moment. Yeah, that'll do it. Dave, we might work out a deal here, Dave. Well, Troy, I don't know. There's not a lot of point in just sitting here watching this. So what if I'm going to follow through with this little setup and see if we can get some sort of a turn this into some sort of an income here. And then maybe I'll just reach out to you a little later and kind of update you on where.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever you feel is best to do, that's fine with me. It's looks like a challenge.
Well, the challenge is that it's not moving.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the challenge. And when it does move, it's just that pressing non-volatile moves that are really hard for us to work with as traders. So
Brutally slow.
yeah, unless it pulls out something right here. I've seen these candles just go bonkers after this much, like in nothing.
Yeah, somebody gets tired of sitting there and takes off.
Yeah, wobbling is turning into a swing. That's exactly right. Let's see. Let's watch this. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to pick a point where I really want that market to, like, it'll be like and I'm thinking it's going to be right in here. I think that's going to be sort of the line where if it makes a run higher, it'll start to peter out in here.
Okay.
Short of like long-term structure, I don't think it gets up to here again. So, but I do think we could see it up into this area, maybe up into here, but I'm doubtful. So what I'll be doing is I'll just try and anchor. I'll use position sizing. I'm now in fix it mode. So I'll be using position sizing to kind of try and nail that one last little push, where we have a decent probability of
Right.
getting back to break even and maybe even making just a little bit of money.
Okay.
So that's what I'll be doing, but it's not going to happen very quick, obviously. Oh,
Little jump.
that was good. Goodness. Yeah. So even still. Well, traders, sorry for the lack of volatility today, lack of volume, lack of movements. Troy, you've been a super patient through that, and I guess you kind of jinxed us in the beginning. Maybe.
Yeah, I apologize.
You said you wanted a lesson on discipline.
This is exactly what gets me in trouble. So. Sorry about that.
No, I'm just teasing you. I'll reach out to or me or Nick will reach out to you a little later and kind of bring you up to speed, and then I'll update everybody else. Either probably Thursday's trading room. I'll bring everybody up to speed in Thursday's training room.
Sean, I appreciate it. Appreciate you and everything you do for all of us traders out here. And it's just amazing what you do and how you train and how generous you are. So I thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Troy. And I really do wish I could have given you a little better session. But it's not me, it's the market. Okay.
I understand.
All right. Well, thank you, Troy. And I'm sure I'll pull this one out. It's not going to be hard to pull this out. So.
I believe in you. I know you will.
Just time. All right, traders. Thank you.
Right.
We'll let you go for now, and we'll update you a little later how it all turns out. The rest of the story is.
There you go.
So,
all right.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you.
Bye now.